Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome to my channel where we get nerdy. And hello, my nerdlings. So, as some of you know, if you've been around for a couple episodes at least, I have recently got a job at Barnes & Noble. And there's an employee discount at Barnes & Noble. So I have a stack next to me to share. Granted, not all of these books I bought. There are a couple gifts, which I will say which ones are gifts and who they're from when I get there. So, also, we have some middle grade, we have some adult, we have some YA, and a good chunk of these are for different video projects coming up. So let's start with middle grade because we have the least number of books there. And the first middle grade I have is A Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. This is the author, I believe, that wrote The Midnight Library. Yes, he is the one that wrote The Midnight Library. So this is 11-year-old Nicholas, nicknamed Christmas, has received only one toy in his life, a doll carved out of a turnip, but he's happy with this turnip doll and the simple life he leads in a cottage with his father. When his father goes missing, Nicholas races to the North Pole to save him. Along the way, he befriends a surly reindeer, bests a troublesome troll, and discovers a hidden world of enchantment in the frozen village of Elfhelm. But the elves of Elfhelm have troubles of their own. Christmas spirit and goodwill are at an all-time low, and Nicholas may be the only person who can fix things, if only he can reach his father before it's too late. So, and it's now a Netflix film, so you probably, if you haven't seen it or read it, I would say go watch it. I'm going to read this for Believe-a-thon that Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin is hosting, because he recommended this to my son, because my son asked me to message Gavin on Instagram and get wintry book recommendations. So this is one of them that Gavin recommended. So there's that one. And then we also have, by Matt Haig, The Girl Who Saved Christmas. It was her Christmas spirit that gave Santa the extra boost of magic he needed to make his first trip around the world. But now Amelia is in trouble. When her mother is ill, she is sent to the workhouse to toil under cruel Mr. Creeper, and it's not long before her hope begins to drain away. As Christmas approaches, magic levels dip dangerously low at the North Pole, and Santa knows that something is gravely wrong. With the help of his trusty reindeer, a curious cat, and Charles Dickens, he sets out to find Amelia, the only girl who might be able to save Christmas. But first, Amelia must learn to believe again. So, again, this sounds really cute. It's going to be a quick read, and I am ready for it. So those are two. Yet again, I'm reading this for Believe-a-thon as well. And the last middle grade we have is from Rick Riordan Presents, and that is The Last Fallen Star by Gracie Kim. Which we all know that I love Kat Cho, the author, the one that did Wicked Fox. And her blurb on the back says, The Last Fallen Star folds Korean culture as well as diaspora feelings into a magical adventure. The way Gracie Kim takes traditions and lore and incorporates them into an exciting contemporary fantasy setting makes my heart soar as a Korean reader. This fantastical story is filled with heart and humor. Readers who love magical adventures, complex family relationships, and sisterhood, not to mention food, should pick up The Last Fallen Star immediately. And can we just talk about this cover? Like, it is gorgeous. I love the art so much. And naked, we have a little sun and moon, navy with silver. And then this makes me super excited. The front has like the magical tree of life type thing for Korean mythology that goes along with this book. So that is going to help a lot with understanding this. So that is our last middle grade that we have. Next, let's move on to YA. First one we have is The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. This is about a 16-year-old girl, Stefina, who works in her family grocery store in Poland. And she has made a promise to the family she works for. Okay, so 16-year-old Stefina has been working for the Diamant family in their grocery store in Poland, singing her way into their lives and hearts. She's even made a promise to one of their sons, a betrothal that must be kept secret since Stefina is Catholic and he is Jewish. And this is 1943, so we know where this is going. So when the German army invades and the Diamonts are forced into a ghetto, she's alone in an occupied city. The only person left to care for Helena, her 6-year-old sister. Then comes the knock at the door. Izaios, which is the boy she's betrothed to, brother Max has jumped from the train headed to the concentration camp. Stefina and Helena make the extraordinary decision to hide him, and eventually 12 more Jews as well. They must wait every day for the next knock on the door, the one that will mean death. When the knock finally comes, it's 2 SS officers requisitioning her house for the German army. With 2 Nazis living below, 13 Jews hidden above, and a little sister by her side, Stefana has one more excruciating choice to make. So I couldn't imagine. Like, I know this is fiction, but if this was real, I couldn't imagine. That would be so tough. So that is The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. And apparently my brain doesn't want to work today. So it's going to have some trouble with reading synopsises. Next, we have a manga called The Bride of the Water God by Mi Kyung-yoon. When Soa's impoverished, desperate village decides to sacrifice her to the water god Hebak to end a long drought, they believe that drowning one beautiful girl will save their entire community and bring much needed rain. Not only is Soa surprised to be rescued by the water god instead of killed, she never imagined she would be a welcomed guest in Habek's magical kingdom, where an exciting new life awaits her. Most surprisingly, however, is the water god himself, and how very different he is from the monster Soa imagined. Ooh, that sounds good. And I love this art on the cover. She is so pretty. Habik. It's gotta be Habik because Baek is the beginning of Baekhyun's name from EXO. So, Habik. At least that's what I'm saying. Next, we have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Shocker, I needed to own all of her books, and now I do, at least the ones that have been published. And it says on the back, my lovers all feel the need to give me nice things, very expensive things. It's been a fun game learning their secrets, seducing them, getting them to shower me with gifts. But be honest, I'm bored with it. I have a new game in mind. I'm going to woo the king. I suspect it won't be longer than a month before he's helplessly in love with me. And when he proposes, I will say yes for the first time. For once the marriage is official and consummated, I will kill the Shadow King and take his kingdom for myself. Ooh, that sounds so good. Let's see what it looks like naked. So we have a red cover with silvery spine. Wicked pretty. I'm excited for this. I don't know why, but I'm in the mood for some kick-ass women right now in my books. So next we have The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. Yep. Also, I have The Heart Forger by Rin Chupeco, which this is book 1, book 2, and there's a book 3. I just don't have it. So, book 1. The beast raged. It punctured the air with its spite, but the girl was fiercer. T is different from the other witches in her family. Her gift for necromancy makes her a bone witch, who are feared and ostracized in the kingdom. For theirs is a powerful elemental magic that can reach beyond the boundaries of living and of the human. Great power comes at a price, forcing T to leave her homeland to train under the guidance of an older, wiser bone witch. There, T puts all her energy into becoming an Asha, learning to control her elemental magic and those beasts who will submit to by no other force. And T must be strong, stronger than she even believes possible, because war is brewing in the 8 kingdoms. War that will threaten the sovereignty of her homeland and threaten the very survival of those she loves. Lyrical and action-packed, this start of a new fantasy series by acclaimed author Rin Chupeco will leave you breathless. And it sounds amazing, and I love this cover. Like, this is definitely one of those where it was a cover by. I never read the synopsis until just now. So, and there's a map. We love maps. I can't wait. All right, and I'm not going to read the back of this one because I have a feeling it would spoil this one. But we can read some of the blurbs on the back, right? And not get... Let's see. A fantasy lover's fantasy. With a rich history and hierarchy of its own, the secrets and workings of its magic are revealed slowly in a suspenseful novel that is sure to appeal those with a love of serious, dark fairy tales. A high fantasy memoirs of a geisha. Chupeco's latest excels in originality. She is a writer to watch. A mesmerizing tale. This sequel is even stronger than its precursor. Okay, I'm excited. I'm gonna have to grab the third book. I can already tell. Next we have Fairy Wars by Herbie Brennan. I know nothing about this book. So for how I did the reading it like my husband, my hair is a mess, I'm sorry. I'm going to be doing other people as well. And that is where Bride of the Water God and Fairy Wars comes in. My friend Rachel said these two I should read. And this is an older book, obviously, since I could only get it in mass market paperback. Yeah, 2003. 2003. It's an old one. Henry Atheron thinks his life is spinning out of control, but nothing prepares him for the invisible portal in old man Fogarty's backyard. Pyragus Maeve, Crown Prince of the Fairy Realm, is on the run. Too many people want the rebellious young heir dead. A scheming sorcerer, a powerful demon, the malignant leader of the fairies of the night, and maybe even a hidden traitor within his father's court. Henry and Pyragus come from very different worlds, but it may be up to Henry to save all of Fairy from being conquered by the night side, even if it means crossing over a magical realm where nothing is ever what it seems and no one can be trusted. So, that's okay. I didn't, yet again, first time I've read the synopsis, but Rachel said that she devoured this series when we were younger, so we're gonna do it. Next is one of those gifts that I was talking about, and that is Where Dreams Descend by Angela Angeles. Yep. I know it's not Angela Angeles. I know that. So, this is, from my understanding, from like what everyone has said on BookTube, it is Phantom of the Opera meets Moulin Rouge. I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly that's what this is. I'm not going to read the synopsis because it's long. In a city covered in ice and ruin, a group of magicians face off in a daring game of magical feats to find the next headliner of the conquering circus. Fame and glory await the winner, but no contestant is safe when an unseen danger begins striking behind the scenes. So, these are the end pages. And we have red with gold on the spine, and then this beautiful chandelier on the cover. So we shall see. This is a gift from my friend Brian and his wife Michelle, because they love me. That's what it boils down to. So the story about how I got this was they live not in the same state as me, and they wanted to buy me a gift, and I wouldn't give them my address. So Brian, knowing that I work at Barnes & Noble, went online and did a buy online, pick up in store, and had me pick it up. And that was his way to buy me something. So, thank you, Brian and Michelle. I love you. So there's middle YA. Next, we have adult. And I honestly, I don't know how to go through this pile with, I didn't realize my incense were behind my head, giving me this weird, tail thingy. That is my incense, pack of incense. So we're just going to start at the top. First, we have The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. Murder, Magic, and Madness at the Fair That Changed America. Um, Bringing Chicago circa 1893 to vivid life, Eric Larson's spellbinding bestseller intertwines the true tale of two men: the brilliant architect behind the legendary 1893 World's Fair, striving to secure America's place in the world, and the cunning serial killer who used the fair to lure his victims to their death. Combining meticulous research and with nail-biting storytelling, Eric Larson has crafted a narrative with all the wonder of newly discovered history and the thrills of the best fiction. So, one of my coworkers recommended this. His name is Chris. He said that it's nonfiction, but the way that Larson writes is it reads fiction. So, and I'm a sucker for serial killers. I'm not sure if we know this. But yeah. My two modes are serial killer documentaries and Christmas movies. Like, so there's either slaying or slaying. That's how it is. The next one we have is another gift. So I remember when I was playing a TBR game and I got current events and I had to redo it because I don't have anything current events related. I do now. My friend RJ and her boyfriend went out and bought me Pregnancy and Power: A History of Reproductive Politics in the United States by Ricky Solinger, which obviously is a big thing in the US. So now we have something for current events, but I don't want to read the synopsis because it's long. It's really long. So let's read a couple blurbs. Readers will find within this book a deeply researched and fine analysis of reproductive politics spanning 250 years. It definitely should be of interest to legal scholars and law students, but also political and social historians. This succinct, highly readable political and cultural history of a wide range of reproductive issues is a near perfect primer on the topic. So, I'm excited. I'm really intrigued. So, this will definitely be a book that I annotate. And I might, break one of my own rules and highlight in this book. Or underline stuff with pencil, fully annotate it. Because it's definitely something that needs to be discussed. And that's all I'm going to say. Next we have The Deep by Alma Katsu. Thrilling, rich, frightening, unsettling, and best of all, told from the heart by the author of Bird Box. Ooh. What really happened on board the Titanic? That's how it starts. Someone or something must be haunting the ship. Between mysterious disappearances and sudden deaths, the guests of the Titanic have found themselves suspended in an eerie, unsettling twilight zone from the moment they set sail. Several of them are convinced there's something sinister, almost otherworldly afoot. But before they can locate the source of danger, as the world knows, disaster strikes. That sounds really good. And I like the Titanic. I love the movie. And I have watched every single documentary there possibly is on the Titanic. So I'm really, just something about it is really intriguing. So let's look at the cover, because I love the color choices on this a lot. So, of course, apparently it's supposed to be like a scary book. But I am intrigued a lot. Interesting. We will see how this goes. Anyways, moving on. Next, we have a book that I have been wanting to read since I saw Leanne from Literary Diversions on YouTube talk about it. And that is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. I know this is book 1 in a series, but I think the series might be like one of those where you don't have to read the first one to read the other ones. Really, what is up with my hair? Anyways, it's been a day. Welcome to ADHD. Mary Jekyll, alone and penniless, following her parents' death, quickly finds herself drawn into the secrets of her father's mysterious past. A clue leads her to believe that Edward Hyde, her father's former friend and murderer, may be nearby, and there's still a reward for information resulting in his capture. A reward that would solve all of her immediate financial woes. But her hunt brings her not to Edward Hyde, but to Diana, his daughter, and a near feral child left to be raised by nuns. With the assistance of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, Mary continues her search for the elusive Hyde and soon gathers around her more women, all of whom have been created through terrifying experimentation. Beatrice Cappuccini, Catherine Moreau, and Justine Frankenstein. When their investigations lead them to the discovery of a secret society of immoral and power-crazed scientists, the horrors of their past soon arrive on their doorstep as well, and now it is up to the 5 women to stop the malicious machinations? machinations. It's like machinations of the Société des Alchemistes. It's French. Société des Alchemistes. Quite simply, it's time for the monsters to triumph over the monstrous. So, I'm intrigued. We shall see how this goes. And lastly, this is a long haul, and I'm sorry, but that's probably because my brain is just not functioning today and can't read. We have Beneath the Moon, Fairy Tales, Myths, and Divine Stories from Around the World by Yoshitani. And again, let's look at this art. Let's appreciate this art. From my understanding, Yoshitani not only wrote this, compiled the stories, but also illustrated this as well. So these are the end pages, and then when you open it up, and when we're saying all over the world, we're talking all over the world, it goes from Turkey to China to Alaska to Denmark to Korea, Inuit, Nepal, Mexico, Persia, Japan, Egypt, all kinds of stuff. So, Nigeria, So we not only have, so this is how all of the fairy tales are. You have one page of illustration that goes with the fairy tale that's on the next page. And right under the title, it tells you where it's from. And all of the illustrations are beautiful like this. Very colorful, very vibrant, and just stunning. Absolutely stunning. So, it got to the point where I had this behind the counter at work, and when I was working cash, and it was really, really slow, I pulled this out and I was reading it during my shift between customers. But it was like, it was closing shift, and there was nobody there. And I had already dusted, I already stocked stuff, and I was super bored, so it helped pass the time. And that is the last book. So, yeah. That's my most recent book haul. And I'm really sorry. Because I know I said I was on a book buying ban, but I couldn't help myself. Because buying books makes me feel happy. And reading them, of course. But I needed something, apparently. So, remember, until next time, remember, you are loved.